and what you think are completely different. You erect a facade of chastity with your words, but your heart is full of deceit and immorality. It is undeniable that among humanity, 1 in 10,000 are geniuses who can steer their own lives and destinies. For them, utopia may not be appealing. Yet, for the vast majority who cannot control their own lives, living within a utopian program would be an immense blessing, indicative of good karma from a past life. Let's calculate the value of 1 crown of Chanyuan celestial name. Xiefeng. This is a matter of values. Some people consider money worthless, while others see it as essential for life. Some view friendship as spiritual wealth, while others see it as a tool for personal gain. Some see labor as a source of happiness, while others see it merely as a means of survival. There are also those who underestimate or belittle the value of labor. The number words for celestial titles are not expressed using one or a few, but rather 1 crown of celestial or a few crowns of celestials. Therefore, the meaning of 1 crown of celestial in the title is 1 Chanyuan celestial name. Now, let's calculate the value of the name of a Life-Chanuan member. First, what is the purpose of a person's lifelong efforts? According to the famous American psychologist Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, human beings strive to fulfill various needs throughout their lives. These needs include physiological needs, safety needs, social needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization. Physiological needs are the most basic human needs, such as food, clothing, shelter, transportation, and sexual life. Safety needs include job and personal safety, life stability, protection from diseases and disasters, and having a secure future. Social needs mainly refer to the desire for care and support from family, groups, friends, and colleagues. Esteem needs involve the desire for self-respect, a sense of accomplishment, and acknowledgement from others. This includes aspiring for wealth, status, power, and a favorable reputation, aiming to earn respect and recognition while avoiding being disregarded or underestimated by society. Self-actualization needs are the highest level of human needs. They involve the desire to complete work that corresponds to one's capabilities, to fully unleash one's potential in the workplace, to become the expected person, to ultimately strive for perfection, to experience the highest state of beauty in life, and to elevate oneself into a celestial being. Now, let's consider how many people have truly fulfilled their physiological, safety, social, esteem, and self-actualization needs. Most people struggle to fulfill even their basic physiological needs, let alone their higher-level needs. Only individuals like presidents, billionaires, and Nobel Prize winners can be said to have achieved these 5 needs from a worldly perspective. How much effort does it take to become a president, a billionaire, or a Nobel Prize winner? Or in other words, what is the value of being a president, a billionaire, or a Nobel Prize laureate? Alternatively, how much money does it take to purchase the titles of president, billionaire, or Nobel Prize laureate? Would it be unreasonable to assume that it takes $100 million to acquire the titles of president, billionaire, or Nobel Prize laureate? Now, let's look at Life-Chanuan members living in the Life-Chanuan second home. Each member has their physiological needs fully satisfied. They have no issues with food, clothing, shelter, transportation, and sexual life. They have job security, occupational safety, life stability, and low exposure to diseases and disasters. They have a secure and stable future. As for social and esteem needs, Life-Chanuan members live in a community of hardworking, honest, sincere, and trustworthy people. They spend their days in a harmonious and loving atmosphere, sharing meals, living spaces, and working together. They respect and care for each other, never hurting or quarreling with one another. No one will keep lost articles found on the roadside, doors will not need to be locked at night, and everyone can enjoy life without concerns about personal conflicts. Therefore, Life-Chanuan members have their social and esteem needs fulfilled. Have the Chanyuan Celestials in the community satisfied their highest self-actualization needs? Absolutely. Within the community, Chanyuan Celestials fully unfold their true selves, living freely and independently. There is no one to manage or supervise them. They experience the utmost beauty and essence of life day and night. Moreover, they have the prospect of reaching the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium celestial island continents, where they continually encounter the peak experiences of life. They live in a beautiful and serene natural environment, surrounded by a humanistic environment that values truth, goodness, beauty, love, trust, and sincerity. Life here is beautiful, leisurely, and joyful, and individuals are realizing their true selves. It reminds me of the profound words of the famous philosopher Nietzsche: "Become who you are." The Chanyuan Celestials living in the second home have not only discovered themselves but have also become individuals with complete, independent consciousness and integrated personality. It can be said that Life-Chanyuan members in the kingdom of the greatest creator, which is a truly communist society, the Life-Chanyuan second home, have achieved more satisfaction in the 5 major human needs than presidents, billionaires, and Nobel Prize winners. So, let's calculate. How much is the name of one crown of Life-Chanyuan celestial worth? Life arranged ingeniously, the ordinary life. Xiefeng. March 27, 2019. Translated by Chinyu and edited by Care. Times change, lives reincarnate with their ups and downs, and human reproduction flourishes. Time and tides annihilate emperors, generals, and ministers. Green grass invades countless palaces and pavilions. The strong disappear in an instant with their great achievements. Heroes who had once shed blood and tears are nowhere to be found. Huge amounts of wealth perish quickly like dreams. Even the rich starve to death in the wilderness. In front of desolate and dilapidated empty buildings was once bumper-to-bumper traffic. The winners were frustrated. The powerful were desolate. Fires were extinguished into ashes regardless of how fierce they might have been. Overwhelming storms returned to calmness. In life, it does not matter whether you win or lose. In the world, it does not matter whether you are right or wrong, gaining or losing. Everything is destined. Everything is a constant. We suffer from our own actions. We harvest what we sow. We are responsible for our wins and losses. The greatest creator never has special mercy for anyone and never intentionally abandons anyone. Those who exploited others will be exploited. Those who hurt others will be hurt exactly the same. Not more and not less. Evil rages in the guise of justice but will be contained eventually. Self-interest is cheating and bluffing in the name of public good, but it will eventually be recalled. Advantages taken will surely be lost, and every extra gain will become a loss. Tao is never absent. Angels never leave. The devil never slackens. Prosperity ends in a big mess. Prosperous ages end in ruins. Lavish banquets end. That which flourishes dies. Phenomena will not last, but essence never changes. There are tens of thousands of ways to die. If one does not know how they will die or where they will be in 100 years, then what is the use of being busy? Why are you in a hurry? Clouds are rolling and unfolding. Flowers are blooming and falling. Rushing passers-by cannot hold anything. Lonely ghosts cannot find places in which to settle down. What are you fighting for? What annoys you? It is all a waste of energy, a waste of the meaning of life. Useless usage has great use. Power, status, reputation, money, real estate, and houses are all passing clouds, and the winner of them must be captured by the devil. The states of realm, virtue, quality, etiquette, gratitude, contentment, and courtesy are all the claims of life, so one will be blessed by heaven if one possesses them. The sum of all positive and negative energy of the universe is 0. If you gain something here, you will lose something there. Looking at heaven, looking at hell, looking at the world, everything is clear. Joy is sorrow, gain is loss, suffering is happiness, frugality is abundance. You might be eager to get what you want, but when your desire is met, misfortune will follow. You might be eager to achieve success, but when you succeed, you will suffer from it. Virtuous individuals, please listen to me. Avoid the urban noise and return to the rural countryside. Life is like a chess game, and each one is different. We cannot see it through. We cannot explore it all. Why not raise a few chickens and ducks, or go to watch the full moon in a field? Pickles and steamed buns warm the stomach, and ragged clothes are like honey to the heart. The chaos of the world is not without its source. Do not go back and forth hurriedly and quarreling. It is hard to tell who is right and who is wrong when all are jollifications of knacks. A big fire will burn everything down. A flood will wash everything away. The pandemic came quietly, and man-made misfortunes are everywhere. Living today, we do not know tomorrow's situation. Something superfluous might cost your life, so why rush yourself and worry? The world is like an unsatisfactory tight dragnet, but everything is arranged ingeniously. Every detail is clear, not a word or act is wrong. Do not hate anyone, do not complain about things happening in the world. Results are what matter. Find the benevolence of the divine across 3 lifetimes. Evil things in the world are made by good people, and supremely good deeds are made by evil people. Good intentions always create trouble, and slander waits beside honor and favor. Misery. Happiness is to be found by its side. Happiness. Misery lurks beneath it. Disaster is a blessing in disguise. It is better to cultivate in the countryside, to be an ordinary person, not to be famous, not to fight for profit, but to light the sacred lamp in your heart and watch the world change. Relying on other people, one will exhaust themselves on them. So why not rely on the Tao of the greatest creator? Everyone has a life trajectory that cannot be changed, so why bother to worry about others? Parents' suffering cannot be replaced by their children's, and the children's sins cannot be negated by their parents, let alone by others. You might think that you are doing something for the good of others, but how do you know that you are not working against Tao and disturbing their trajectories? You cannot give money to others without having money in your pockets. How can you guide others to live well if you do not live well? Depend on your own experiences and feelings, and do not listen to others' moral preachings. No harm in life is greater than that which affection can do when it is deep and hurts very severely. Sentient beings are trapped in affection nets until they die in mazes of affection. If you cast your affection onto someone, then their burden will become yours. So why not direct your affection toward idyllic, green mountains and blue rivers? Attaching affection to flowers, birds, insects, and fish is more beneficial than doing so to people. How can you wash your feet while still standing in mud? How can you sever your worldly ties while still living in the world? Waves never end. Repaying debts by borrowing will keep you in debt forever. We also need to repay our debts that we borrowed from nature. The only way to eradicate debt is by giving alms formlessly. Our minds should not abide in form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or dharma, but should abide nowhere. This mind abiding nowhere is our true mind, which is nature, Buddha, angels, and celestials. Looking throughout the world, the best place for life is the new oasis for life. Life Guide with Philosophical Dialectics. Xiefeng. Translated by Transin and edited by Care. Philosophy is the abstract theory about the nature of the universe and its developmental law, as well as the relationship between thinking and being. Dialectics is the theory of the unity of opposites, the contradictory movements of things, and the universal connections and characteristics of them. In terms of properties, dialectics is part of and resides within the category of philosophy. It is like consciousness and thinking. Thinking is part of and resides within the category of consciousness. Speaking metaphorically, philosophy is the human body and dialectics are its eyes. Philosophy deals with the broad sense, while dialectics deals with the narrow sense. Philosophy is general while dialectics is specific. It is my opinion that philosophy is science and should be understood and reasoned with real evidence, without which it would not be logical, and that would in turn lead to wrong conclusions. For instance, both the absolute idealism and absolute materialism sever the unity between the two sides of the contradiction, such as religion, which emphasizes more about the idealism and ignores the value and meaning of real existence, and pragmatism, which stresses more about existence itself, but less about its causes. The theory system of life Genuine is mainly based on real evidence, although I have previously expounded more about the teachings and instructions of gods, Buddha, celestial beings, and saints in human history as the core, which is somewhat empty for the faithless, and not only lack operability, but also lack the cognition of the scientific nature of the spatial-temporal universe, life, and life. It is like Lao Tzu's descriptions of Tao, an image of what existed before God. The Tao that can be discussed is not absolute Tao, evasive, elusive, yet latent within it are forms. Dark and dim, yet latent within it is the life force, too specious to be understood by anyone who is not extremely wise. How do we guide our lives with philosophical dialectics? Buddha has no settled rules. Buddha's rules always vary according to the situation. Keep the main and change the others according to the situation. To be selfless is to achieve self. To be free from ego is to achieve ego. To own nothing is to own everything. And so on, which I summed up conforms to dialectics in the philosophical sense and can guide life. Now we will talk in detail about how to understand the world and how to guide our lives with philosophical dialectics. First, let us see the universal law of the unity of opposites in a philosophical sense. This law is to say that all things in the universe consist of pro and con factors which are opposite, incompatible, and contradictory as fire and water. But paradoxically, it is precisely this organic unity of contradictions that makes the world complex and colorful. Specifically, positive balance is negative, light balance is dark, true balance is false, good balance is evil, yin balance is yang, male balance is female, up balance is down, the rise balance is the fall, death balance is life, the tangible balance is the intangible, and so on. How can this analysis be significant to guide our lives? The law of the unity of opposites tells us that there is the physical world, but also the spiritual, heaven, but also hell, material structure, but also the non-material, and the tangible human, but also the intangible God. As such, our consciousness and thinking are not limited to our mortal lives and will not be limited to the material world that we see. Our field of knowledge can expand to unlimited space and time, to the afterlife, to the non-material world which we can neither see nor hear from our current place. What a remarkable leap of faith this is! Thus, as human beings, we should not only value the present, but also consider the future, not only pay attention to reality, but also consider nothingness, not only cherish life, but also pay attention to the afterlife. Let us now look at the law of mutual change of quality and quantity in a dialectic sense. This law says that any change of quality must be based on an accumulation of quantity. When the accumulation of a quantity becomes saturated and passes a critical point, its quality or qualities will change. This law has a measurable value and significance in guiding our lives. From the law of the unity of opposites, we understand that while there are humans, there must be gods. Since there are gods, the existence of celestial beings and Buddha become reasonable. Humans, gods, Buddha, and celestial beings are life of different natures. People have human nature, gods have divine nature, celestial beings have theirs, and Buddha has Buddhist nature. If human nature is to be sublime to divine nature, there must be an accumulation of quantity, and the accumulation must develop towards the divine nature. 1,000 miles cannot be covered without an accumulation of steps, and there will be no rivers or seas without the integration of small streams. If one gradually accumulates a divine nature, then in accordance with the law of mutual change of quality and quantity, they will eventually become godlike. Based on the dialectic law of the negation of negation, we can conclude that new things must conquer old things. New things refers to those which are in line with objective law and posse's strong vitality and broad developmental prospects. Old things are those that run counter to objective law and will die out. To determine whether a thing is new or old is to look at its nature, not its form or appearance. For example, many new religions have sprung up like mushrooms with new forms and manifestations, but their natures are variations fermented in old nests, and they are not new at all. Now let us look at the new methods, new measures, and new channels, with the aim of earning money across the globe, such as the transformation from traditional manufacturing industries to service and infotech industries, which appear new when seen from their form and appearance, but are still, essentially, ways to make money. Thus, they are not new because the nature of their profit motive has remained the same. As in the Yangtze River, the waves behind ride on the ones before. New generations excel the old. This is a reflection and portrayal of the law of the negation of negation. From the phenomenon of the global rise of the divorce rate and the growing number of singles, we can surmise a law such that the family as a traditional production and life mode will be gradually replaced with a new form of production and life mode. This is an objective law which will not change by people's subjective wills, and will not stop advancing just because people resent it or rebel against it. This new mode is replacing the traditional production and life mode, is a new thing, and no force can prevent its development and growth once it happens. However, the growth and development of new things is bound to suffer and will have to overcome arduous and tortuous processes. When you invest yourself into the development of new things, you must be psychologically and spiritually prepared to suffer difficult times, or the new things will eliminate you. The prospects of old things are dark, but the prospects of new things are bright. So the farther you walk on the way of old things, the narrower it becomes, but the farther you walk on the way of new things, the wider it becomes. It rises here but sets there. It increases here but decreases there. Two extremes are connected but will go in different directions when pushed too far. The rise is sudden, but so is the fall. Ill gain brings ill fate. Karma is the shadow following a body. Extreme joy begets sorrow. Out of the extreme misfortune comes fortune. All these conform to dialectics, so we have to remain alert and have confidence all the while. After we understand the universal law that positive and negative energies always balance out, we can deal with life affairs skillfully and easily. We know that when we constantly give and contribute rather than take and consume, we will accumulate many treasures, but where? They are reserved in the afterlife or the non-material world. Who will enjoy these treasures? No one can, other than the one who has accumulated them. Otherwise, the universal law that positive and negative energy always balance out would be violated. As it is a universal law, it is a necessary procedure. When you pay, you must receive. When you receive, you must pay. If you have given but have not received in the mortal world, then you will undoubtedly receive in your next life or in heaven. Otherwise, the universe would be unfair and untrue. Everything has its destiny. The total energy in the universe is constant. This is consistent with the law of the conservation of energy and of matter. In terms of philosophy, yin cannot exist without yang, and yang cannot grow without yin. Yin and yang are the law and order of the changes of all things, Huangdi Neijing. As we know from the water on the earth, regardless of the surging rivers brought on by rainstorms or the increase of snow cover on mountaintop, its total volume remains constant. It is destiny. This is to say that the quantity of life in the universe is constant. It increases here but decreases there. It rises here but falls there. Well then, where does the increase in human population come from? Are new lives born out of thin air? People who have explored and studied anything about reincarnation know that human reincarnation happens several days before birth. Therefore, an embryo or fetus does not contain life. It can only be called life when a reincarnated soul enters into it. Thus, we know that a new life will only be born when an old one passes on. There is no life without death and no death without life. That is it. In this case, we know that the increased life on the earth must have come from somewhere. If a new life is born, then an old one must have ended. If we analyze carefully, we may wonder about the many animals on the earth that have died. Where have they gone? Have they become human? Where will their lives go if the earth has a mass extinction in the future? Please refer to 36-dimensional space for the answers. Philosophical dialectics can guide our lives. We have just discussed how to guide our lives by philosophy from the perspective of philosophy. This enlightenment is only the tip of the iceberg. You may draw general conclusions about other cases from specific ones. I hope that each one of you will lead a smart life and that you will have wonderful life prospects. Life is but an illusion. Xiefeng. Translated by Treasure and edited by Care. Illusions are phenomena that appear in dreams, fantasies, and phantasms. With further inferences, all phenomena that arise quickly, remain briefly, and then disappear equally quickly can also be thought of as illusions. Mirages are illusions, as are dreams, soap bubble patterns, and even thoughts at the end of the day or when we are bored will form them. It can be inferred that flashes and pans are illusions, a large number of cells, microbes, and fungi are illusions. Many photos online are illusions, computer games are illusions, and movies and TV shows are illusions, too. Dreams are illusions because the dream world lasts for a short time. If one dreams for 100 years continuously, Would that be an illusion or reality? Of course, it would still be a dream because the moment that the person wakes up, the dream would disappear. So how could the dream not be an illusion? It can be concluded that no matter how long a phenomenon exists, as long as it disappears completely at some point, it too must be an illusion. Thus, it is possible to conclude that life is an illusion because even someone who lives for 100 years will eventually disappear altogether. So why would that be different? Having dreamed throughout the night, we wake up in the morning, and no matter how much we twisted and turned during our dreams, we no longer care about anything that happened in them because after all, they were fantasies, dreams, and illusions. A dream will not affect our mood or state of mind too much. Here is the question. Since we have deduced that life is an illusion, is it necessary to be sad for our twists and turns in life? Is it necessary to be anxious about things in our life? Is it necessary to struggle hard for things and hunger to reach goals? Is it necessary to make others behave according to our own wills? When the illusion of life disappears, will it not float away as a dream? When the earth we live on disappears completely in the infinite universe and all of humanity disappears as an illusion, what about a single person? To analyze and judge this question, I want to wake you from your dream to let you not be a human being, but rather a celestial being. When you wake up, will you still go into your dream to be nostalgic for something or to fight for someone in your dreams? Of course not, because it was an illusion, a fantasy. Well, life is also an illusion and a fantasy. So shall we be racked by people and things in this illusion? Of course not. Who remembers their grandparents' grandparents? Not to mention the fact that the memories of our grandparents' grandparents are already blurred even in the incomplete memories of our grandparents. Who will remember us 100 years after we die? We take for granted that we have importance in the present, but that is a complete illusion. Many great historical figures have died. They thought that they were important back then, but what about now? The earth goes on turning and humans go on reproducing. The footsteps of civilization never stop marching forward. So it is unnecessary to be too sad when people around us die because death is a normal phenomenon and everyone will die, including ourselves. So never be overly anxious, fearful, or sorry because it is all an illusion. Nobody can control your dream. Who can even control their own life? It is delusional to think that if you do something, you will get something. That is impossible. You cannot secure yourself against all risks and dangers. How can people control your life? You cannot wear shoes when you are supposed to be barefoot, and you cannot stay on the mountain when you are supposed to leave. Cold shoulders cannot be expected when you are thriving and on the way up. That every cloud has its silver lining may be forgotten in despair and adversity. Therefore, never force yourself to learn, suppress yourself to work, or force yourself to do what you dislike and which is against your own better judgment. No matter how successful you are, outstanding or a billionaire, or how glorious your family reputation has been flowing down through many generations, when you wake up, all will have been a dream. Affection and love tactics are the most difficult traps for people to escape. They are the most terrible traps in life. Ask the mortal world what love is. It drives one mad to death. Now think about it. Life is but an illusion. After waking up, everything will be nothing. So is it necessary to be bogged down on affection and love? It might actually be better to live as a beau, a dandy. What people fear most is losing what they own and are most attached to their property, their power and status, their reputation, and of course their most beloved lover. However, they are not at all necessary. What really belongs to you and cannot escape is yours. But if it is not yours, you cannot keep it. Any way one looks at life, it is still an illusion which can be shattered and vanish in a moment. So why make yourself suffer for it? Why not enjoy a natural and unrestrained dream? Has anyone in history been so intelligent and so powerful that they could control everything? Not one. Everyone is acting in a play. They are playing roles, following scripts. If anyone could control all things with their wisdom and power, their fortunes would be as boundless as the East China Sea, and they would live a very happy, healthy, and eternal life forever. Have there been any? Not one. This proves that man is only a grain of sand in a sandstorm, a drop of water in the sea, and that nothing can really be controlled by anyone. So why not just follow predestined relationships and take things as they come? Life will be easier and more natural. People expend a lot of time and effort on their health and appearance, yet regardless of their daily exercise and nutritious eating habits, The sick are still sick and the short-lived still come to untimely ends. No matter how much paint and powder one applies to their face or how much plastic surgery they undergo, wrinkles still creep onto the forehead and cheeks as time passes, and signs of aging become more and more visible every day. These changes cannot be resisted, so why try to fight them when you know that you cannot? Life is too short. Fiddle with this today, fiddle with that tomorrow, and remain confused. You will still get old, fade away, and die. It is a bad deal to live in fantasies, but an even worse one is to indulge them. Do you worry? What do you worry about? You were worried when you were dreaming. What about when you woke up? My point is that there is no need to worry about anything because all of life is ultimately only a dream. There are no real scenarios because life will end. Will all the worry not be gone with the wind? Enjoy the present. Do not worry about tomorrow or the next day. Everyone's life has been predetermined by their destiny, their script. Worry is useless, so why persist with this fantasy, waste your recreation time, and ruin your relaxed mood? Your state of mind is different when you are asleep than when you are awake. Sleeping people lead befuddled lives in their dream worlds of obsession, worry, anxiety, sorrow, and fear. However, fully awake people know that all is but an illusion, so they have neither strong bliss nor intense grief, but are just pleasant, relaxed, and calm. Who are these people? Celestial beings, of course. Within the universe, everything is an illusion except for the greatest creator. People live in illusions because all lives are illusions. In this sense, illusions are reality. Illusions are stages of life. People live one dream after another and live a large number of dreams throughout their lives because lives consist of dreams. Although people live in illusions today, this is really the entirety of human life. Never expect to lead a real life without it being an illusion. Even the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world are all illusions. The differences are that those illusions are more beautiful and splendid and go on much longer. It is very clear that everything is an illusion, but most people are too stubborn, obstinate, and perverse to see them as such and are convinced that they are living in reality. When one awakens from their dreams, their soap bubbles will burst and they will say goodbye to their dream, but they will do it unwillingly and with disappointment and frustration. Knowing that life is an illusion, how does one lead a wonderful life?